welcome to Afternoons with Ashley. I am stoked to be here today, and I have a really super duper special guest. A lot of you will probably recognize her because she's basically famous now. And I am so happy that I get to have her on the show to talk about her experiences through the pageant system and what's next for her, all of those things. Today, I have Miss Avery Bradley, and she recently won. So when was the pageant? How long ago now?
Well, it was on July 12th and July 11th. At the River Center in Davenport.
Nice. So she ended up winning the title of Junior Miss Iowa. How cool is that to have someone from Muscatine win a title like that? Tell me, what is the process for getting there? Did you have a title before going to compete at this pageant? How's that all work?
So I had a local title of Miss Pearl City.
Okay.
And I had that title and I did community events with it, and then I took that title to the state pageant and I ended up winning that.
Yay! How exciting. So on a level of 1 to 10, 10 being you were super surprised and 1 being like, man, I knew I was gonna get it. Where were you? Did you feel throughout the pageant like, oh, I'm doing really good, or were you still a little iffy at the end?
Well, throughout the pageant, I thought I was doing really good. I thought my walks were really good and my talent was really good. And then when I got to awards, and I was pretty confident about it, and I was like a 7.
Yeah, 7. You're like, it could happen.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So when you went to compete at this last pageant, how did that differ than the local pageant that was there a ton more people? Obviously probably a bigger stage,
Yeah.
all of those things. How were your nerves doing?
Well, we don't actually compete in the local titles. You choose a title that you want to compete with for the title of Junior Miss Iowa.
Okay, gotcha. So how many pageants have you done so far? Was this a lot?
A lot. I've
Okay.
done this one. I've done a local one once. I did Little Miss Iowa twice. I did other pageants. I did an international pageant, and I did 2 of those. So around 7.
7-ish? And how old are you?
I'm 10.
10. Wow. So she has been around the block when it comes to pageants. So do you think as you go, it gets a little bit easier, or there's just something different about each of them, so you still get those nerves and things when you're getting ready to compete?
I feel like every time I go in to perform or even into the interview, I always have a little bit of nerves because I don't know what they're going to ask me or what it's going to turn out like. So I do have those nerves sometimes. Yeah,
because every time you have different judges and they might throw something different at you. So out of the whole pageant, the whole thing, what do you think is the most nerve-wracking part?
Probably interview, because you have to go in and talk to a panel of 5 judges for 6 minutes, and you don't know what they're going to ask you, and it's always a surprise on what they're going to ask you.
You can't really prepare for it. Like a talent or something, you can kind of practice and get ready, but it's harder to prepare for questions.
You can still prepare for it by trying to get the questions that you think they might ask you, but you never really know what they're going to ask.
Right. They could. So what was the most surprising question that they asked you, in this last pageant? Were you like, ah?
Well, it was the question, if you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would you eat? And I thought that was more for a little question because it was a younger question, and I had no clue that they were going to ask me that. But when they did ask me that, it was pretty easy, so I was able to answer.
Yeah, but it was a surprising question. What did you pick? We all need to know.
I picked chocolate cake. Because it's amazing.
It is amazing. With chocolate frosting or vanilla frosting?
I don't know. Any frosting.
It doesn't matter. Chocolate cake, people. Yes. If you want to win Avery's heart, you're going to need to bring her some chocolate cake. That's what it's going to take. So, what is your absolute favorite part of competing in the pageant system?
I really like one of the on-stage walks called Outfit of Choice.
Ooh.
And it's where you get to have a fun outfit and you do a casual-ish walk to it. And I really liked it because my outfit of choice was a white romper with a cape, and I really liked it.
Ah, cute! What was the cape like? It was like actually part of the outfit?
Well, it was like you buttoned it onto the outfit.
Ooh, fancy.
I had a lot of fun being able to whip it on stage.
She was whipping it on stage. That's fun. So what have you done to prepare for like being in pageants? So if you were talking to a little girl who was younger than you and kind of wanted to get started, what would your advice be? What would you tell them to do to practice and get better and ready?
I would tell them, if they were a junior and they were preparing for a pageant and younger than me, to try to get a good start on their community service project, because in an interview they're going to ask you a lot of questions on that. If they were little, try to have more fun and personality questions, because they're definitely going to ask you that. And then being able to prepare for your talent, do something that you want to do for your talent.
Yep.
My talent was actually in musical theater, dance to the song Raise the Roof.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then I would say having fun with your walks and playing around with your, try that.
Yeah, so when you're younger, the personality aspect has to play a bigger part, because they're not old enough to really answer difficult questions and kind of have that capability. So they have.
When you're a junior, you still have to have a lot of personality, because the judges are always looking for the personality.
Sure, yeah. Well, if you're going to be representing the state of Iowa and going out to all different kinds of venues and events, and they want somebody that's going to represent well.
Yeah.
And also, so what's next? What's the next step in your process? Will you go compete again somewhere else?
I can't compete for another year until I give up my title to the next Junior Miss Iowa.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then I do really want to go compete again for a different pageant, because I'm going to have a long break till I can compete for Teen and Miss Iowa, and maybe after that even Miss America. So
Yes! How cool would it be if we had Miss America right here in Muscatine?
That'd be amazing.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So that's like the ultimate goal, is to get to that level and be able to, oh my gosh, I'm sure the experiences that they have are just amazing. Yeah.
Being Miss America in the my hometown of Muscatine would be amazing.
Yes.
It would be so cool.
Oh my gosh, she would for sure be famous. Everyone would know your name.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. So you mentioned earlier about your community service project and how that was kind of a big part of competing this time. What did you do for that?
So my community service project was titled Tiny But Mighty, and that was to raise awareness on prematurity. And through it, I've worked with 2 organizations and charities. One of them is the Preemie Project, the other is the March of Dimes. The Preemie Project is a nonprofit organization that makes items for NICUs that are local in Iowa, and the March of Dimes is a national organization that raises money to fund towards NICUs for research on prematurity, and they're there to help educate the world and the public on prematurity.
Wow. So what exactly did you do for your project? Like, what types of things did you have to do?
Well, through the Preemie project.
That's okay.
I helped with their bedding drive, where we made 245 fitted sheets, 80 flat sheets, and 100 pillowcases.
Wow!
I know.
Holy moly!
I didn't do any of the sewing though, because I don't know.
I was just going to ask you, can you sew?
No, I can't sew.
No, you can't sew. So you just kind of, your part was really trying to gather people who knew how to? Is that what you did?
Well, when I was there, I helped with the fitted sheets, putting the elastic band.
Sure.
I helped do that, and then we would give it back to the sewers who sewed it together, and it made a fitted sheet.
It takes a little bit of everybody, right?
Yeah. And the bedding was so cute because it had little animals on it and flowers and dragons. It was really cute bedding.
Oh, fun. So what made you choose that project? Is there like a significance to you, or you just think it's important in general, or what were you?
Well, I was born premature at 1 month early and had to be on a breathing machine because my lungs weren't fully developed yet. My brothers were also born premature at 2 months early and they had to be on a breathing machine because their lungs were not fully developed yet and their brains were not fully developed yet, so they didn't know how to breathe, but they also didn't know how to suck on a bottle. And I can remember all the traveling we did and how it was a really hard time for our family, so I wanted to help support other families.
That's awesome. I think that's where like the best community projects come from, are from people who are passionate about something because of their own experiences.
Yeah.
You can kind of understand